This PSA was brought to you by the Peter G Show.
You may have second thoughts after the show.
Don't drink the faucet.
We're really talented. We should get Oscars.
Just pick out a car, for Christ's sake.
No, hi, my name is Peter.
Yeah, I want.
Here's good.
Yeah.
Madam Perry.
I need to get back in the genie bottle.
Louis from Pennsylvania, you're on. He likes it. It's showtime.
Peter G Show, Peter G Show, divorced dad, single dad, divorced dad, single dad, Peter G Show.
That's right. Wednesday equals showtime equals Peter G Show. Life with Peter G, the Peter G Show. Here we are. When I tell you, I could barely catch my breath today, I'm not kidding. It's one of those days, just banging it out. But then again, the whole world is either banging it out or banging their heads. How the hell is everybody? I hope you're doing well. I want to thank you for tuning in whenever it is that you may be watching this, hopefully live. But if you can't make it live, believe me, it's always on demand. It's I count my blessings every day that I could sit here and do this, and especially since we've been going through some broadband issues over the past 2 months, I think it may be fixed. We'll find out, won't we? Talk about that in a minute. We got a great show tonight. Tonight I'm going back to my roots. The original Peter G Show, the greatest divorced and single parenting guy, period, kinda, sorta. Life with Peter G, it evolved into. But it all started because I really, for those of you who know, I watch Facebook a lot. I watch how people react. I watch what they say. I watch what they show us. And there's a lot out there. And a lot of people say things and do things because they're just at their wits' end. Good and bad. Showing me what you ate, ooh, this is delicious looking, it's all the above. But there's a lot of people that you just want to be heard because you're going through hell. You're having a hard time in life. God, there's so many people going through life right now. I mean, and I'll get into that in a few minutes, but it all started way back in the day, back in the 40s when I first started out on this show. And watching people go through hell. Plus, I was going through my own hell with divorce and things like that. I've never been through it. So, when that kind of stuff hits, it's not like a gradual thing. It's not like, I got a little scratch on my arm and then, one day another you cut your arm, or it's just straight for the jugular most of the time. And it sucks. And most people aren't prepared for it. I dare say that having gone through that, if there was ever, God forbid, a second time I had to go through it, it wouldn't be nearly as bad as the first, because that was like, boot camp, Hell Island for years. But that being said, I watch people on Facebook and I understand, and I just realize that people want to and need to be heard. They want to be able to vent, and they want to know, they want somebody just to listen to them. Because they're going through hell. They're going through stuff that, and family sometimes is the worst. Family, it's like, oh my God, if I hear him again, I'm gonna jump off a cliff. It's like, I thank God for the handful of people I had in my life that I bent their ears. Now, for those of you who make jokes about me, they go, Peter, he can talk. It's like, yeah, hence my talk show. But this was a different kind of talking. This was like your soul is burning. Your life is just, you're watching everything go upside down and in flames. And so it doesn't always work out well. At the end of the day, though, you do get through it. It just takes some time, some quicker than others. I wish mine was quicker, but it just was what it was. And you get better. And I had a friend that said to me one time, he said, Pete, I know this sucks right now. He says, but it's going to get better. And I mean, he was right. Eventually it got better, but man, oh man, did I want to go through that? You know, it's like, hell no. So I watch a lot of this stuff. So tonight I rearranged things. Plus the broadband's back. I haven't had guests on the show because of the broadband. I did not want to screw up a show. So I did current events, which we're going to talk about that before we bring my guest on, because that's another catch-22. So tonight we're going to have Tomi on the show. Tomi's a guy that's younger than me, who I've watched from time to time get on Facebook and say some things that I could tell he was hurting. A lot of people are hurting. And I've just watched. But as time went on, I'd see it again. I'm going, man, there's something deep down going on. And I reached out to Tomi, and Tomi is going to be on this show in just a few minutes. Tomi is a guy, fell in love, like we all kind of do at one point in our lives, got married, had 3 kids. But I don't think anybody gets married to say, yeah, I don't want to, I can't wait to get married so I can get divorced. But, things started going awry. Lots of alcohol in the game, some infidelity, a lot of pain and suffering. And the kids are caught in the middle. And I could tell that Tomi was reaching just for help. And Tomi wants to heal. I'm talking about him in the third person. So I'm going to have Tomi on the show so we could talk about getting through it, because so many people can relate. And I promise you that there's so many people at some point and or time that are going to hear this show and go, God, I wish I had this when I was going through my hell. Because everybody thinks it's just them. It's like, why me? Why me? For all kinds of reasons. Never mind only divorce and the fight and and the relationship issues and all that. Everything from illnesses and losing parents or losing a loved one. I mean, just you name it. You know that. I'm talking to you all over the world. Everybody goes through it. But he just knows that he wants to try to heal. And I'm telling you, when you can let some steam off of the pressure cooker, you can get it off your chest. And sometimes even when you listen to the show after it's over and hear yourself, it's a huge growing experience. So he's going to be on the show in just a few minutes. So buckle up. It's very relatable. So many people go through all things. It's kind of like a general, but it's, we're talking about one category of relationships, but man, oh man, I mean, it can be applied to A, B, C, D, and E, maybe F and G too. F and G. Coming up in a few minutes, all right? I want to tell you, next week, I've been waiting for this. Next week, write this down. Next week, tomorrow, August 8th, marks the 1-year anniversary of the Lahaina fires, the fires that happened in Hawaii. That I've done many shows on that because I truly, from the bottom of my soul, believe it was not anything natural. You can call me crazy. You can say what you want. I've done enough work on this, talked to enough people, done enough shows that it doesn't add up. But yet, how they depend on time fading everything away. Well, it's the 1-year anniversary. So next Wednesday, August 14th, I'm going to have somebody from that island who has an organization called the Maui Community Investigation. His name is Paul Deloria. He's a native Hawaiian. And he feels the same way. And he's put together a grassroots group and to go deeper into this, because we both feel, and many other people feel, that this was no accident. And it's going to be a good show. He's a plethora of information. He's right there. He's lived there. He still does live there. And he's fighting the good fight every day, because certain people are trying to just hurry up and brush this over. And that way people forget and move on so they can go on with their plans. But there was a lot of death and destruction that went on over there. And it happens in other parts of the world too. But I happened to catch wind of this, and I wasn't letting up. And I swear that, in my soul of souls, it was nothing that came naturally and just happened to happen. So he's going to be on the show, Mr. Paul Deloria. Whoops, sorry, microphone. From Maui Community Investigations for the 1-year Lahaina fires anniversary. And we're going to talk about it in deep detail. So you're going to want to write that down and show up and pay attention. A lot of people seemed to be interested when I did those shows, and rightfully so. Anyway, also, now that we're moving right along, I was just telling you how for the past 8, almost tonight will be 9 weeks, we've been having some major infrastructure broadband issues with the show. And it was messing me up. I'd be freezing, the shows be cutting off. And, normally I do current events once a month at the end of the month, last show of the month. I like to because there's so much news going on in this world. Let's face it, this country is pretty messed up. We are so divided, and people who are best friends that don't agree with each other politically don't talk to each other anymore, which is sad. It's so saddening. And this is happening to me weekly as people that I've known for 20 years were catching on that because I did 4 or 5 consistent shows in a row of current events, aka the current events lately are politics. I friggin' hate politics. I do. I hate politicians because they just lie. They lie with confidence, and we've learned to just kind of go with what they say. And I'm sorry, you know what? I woke up a long time ago, and I did, I hate to use that phrase, waking up. I became alert that things aren't what they may try to make them to be. I'm not the greatest at it, and I don't go down the rabbit hole, even though I've been accused of it, but I do keep my eye on that hole. Keep my eye on the hole. Because I know what's going on. But yet, we have other people, and you're entitled to you're entitled to your own opinions. I'm not going to not like you for that. What you think of me is that's on your end. But I say it a million times. I'm not going to not like you. I don't understand you. Maybe you can explain it to me, but I'm not going to not like you. But this past week, and I don't read a lot of comments. I don't read comments on the show. I mean, from the show on Facebooks and things like that. There's too many of them for one thing, and it's just better for me to not pay attention. Let you guys battle it out. I give you the show, take the information I put out there, and use it to the best of your interests. I try to bring something to light, but it is one-sided, kind of, because it's the side I think is more correct. Although I'm really not too hip on both sides. I told you I'm not really a Republican, and I definitely am not a Democrat anymore. The policies have gotten radical. I used to be a Democrat. I mean, growing up, my parents were. But it's not the same. And I'm sorry, that's the way I feel. And good luck to you. I don't care. This is America. So far, we still have that freedom, kind of, to make a choice. I just try to make a educated one and not just go by what I see on TV. I've had to learn that because that was my downfall. But for the past 8 to 10 years, I figured it out. At least I think I did. But I got some people that just get really upset with me. And, and it's like, okay, but okay. I had a woman, an elderly woman. I just happened to catch a comment. I don't normally reply, especially. But this is a little bit different. These political shows kind of get me riled up, and sometimes I swear because I feel it makes a point and more colorful to how much I am trying to emphasize on what I'm talking about. And I think maybe it was last week, but she's like, why do you have to swear? And she was an older woman. I'm probably close to 80 from what I'm figuring. I got all kinds. We have from 35 to the time you die of a crowd. And thank you for watching. But she said, why do you have to swear? No wonder why our children are growing up so badly and this and that. And it just bothered me because, number one, I don't mean to swear. I don't swear one word after the other. Sometimes it's, I think I said bullshit last week. And I said it repeatedly. Shit and bullshit. And I said it repeatedly because of this one segment I was doing. I think that's what upset her. But, and I wrote back to her and I apologized. I said, I'm really sorry, but sometimes I get riled up and it slips out. And, I'm not on a major network to where I have to worry about it. When they pay me even bigger money, believe me, I'll root it out. But right now, I'm just being me. And I'm always going to be me, but I'll just tone it down a little bit. I don't even want to be talking about politics, but it's that important. At least I feel it is. And it's the season. Election's right around the corner. It's like, come on. But if you don't agree with me, it's like, oh, Peter, what the hell has happened to you? It's like, nothing's happened to me. We just happen to not be on the same page for this one issue. But for 20 years, we've been friends and hung out and done everything for years. But now you're upset with me. As George Carlin says, everybody respects your opinion unless you give your opinion about them, then you're an asshole. Oopsie, I just swore again. That's in the words of George Carlin. He was a comedical genius about life. So she said, why do you have to swear? And I apologized. I felt bad. I said, this elderly woman's, upset about it. I appreciate the fact she's watching the show. And I wrote her, I said, I'm truly sorry. Sometimes it just slips out, but I feel it puts the right phrase on what I'm trying to make a point of. And she said, well, it's just very unnecessary. And I said, well, I'm very sorry. She says, well, you don't have to answer to me. And it's like, so I think she was trying to say I have to answer to God. And it's like, now I'm pissed. Because it's like, don't bring God into this, because God and we talk every day, all day long. Poor God's got to listen to me all day long because life isn't easy for anybody. But we do have our conversations, and I mean a lot. So I don't want this holier than thou bullshit. And now I just swore again because but I mean well. I'm not trying to hurt anybody. Don't bring religion into it because I don't need preaching. Because anybody who knows me, it's like I got just enough to keep my feet on the ground without thumping a Bible. Just enough. Deep within. I just don't go flaring it. I'm not flamboyant with it. But I do believe. Got nothing to lose by believing. So I just wanted to get that off my chest. I did a lot of shows these past 2 months because in case I got bumped off, I didn't want to lose my guests and mess up the show. But tonight, God willing, and she probably didn't watch the whole show. She probably only saw short clips. And she doesn't know that every show I'm so thankful for, God willing, right here, Life with Peter G, The Peter G Show, every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, and 9 p.m. on the East Coast, God willing. So I didn't want to mess anything up. And I'm hoping and praying that it's flawless tonight because I got Tomi on the show. So Tomi's going to be up in a minute, right after we hear from my good friends over at Clean Star Products with their money-saving fuel additive DX1 driver. So don't go away. I'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Tyrone Thompson of CleanStarProducts.com. This is DX1 Driver in the news, and here's what our friends have to say.
So I'm here to recap on the DX1 I've used. I put it in the oil and I put it in the gas. While I'm using it just for about 3 tanks. Cleaned everything out. I got every ounce of power back in my truck.
When Jared's truck was new, it had a lot of power. Then over time, it began to slow down. He got it all back with our DX1 driver program.
Something you got to see for yourself. It's a great product. It's affordable. And it blows all the other additives and esters out of the water.
DX1 driver is the finest oil in the world from a California environmental company. It goes into the fuel system and the oil. It's the only green grade product qualified for the carbon credits program, giving you better fuel mileage, lower emissions, and increased horsepower. So join the fuel savings revolution today. Go to CleanStarProducts.com/shop.
That's right, folks. Clean Star Products. I have one thing and one thing only to say. It's a product that works. I use it myself. I know for a fact. But here's what I want you to do. I know you probably have questions about stuff like this. So go to www.cleanstarproducts. There's a phone number on there. This is why I want you to call them directly. They will answer all of your questions directly. Ty Thompson is amazing at that. He's so proud of their product. He will answer your questions. And the second reason I want you to use that phone number, because should you decide you want to order this Clean Star product, if you call them directly and tell them that you saw it on the Peter G Show, they will send you 5 bottles for the price of 4. That's right, folks. 5 bottles for the price of 4. A deal's a deal. But you got to call them directly, and you have to mention that you saw it on the Peter G Show, because again, I love these guys. They know what I do, and they still sponsor me. But more importantly, they have a product that works, and it makes sense to save money. Cars are expensive. Gas is expensive. I mean, it's not going to change. So keep your car running as good as it can, just like your body. And it's easier than taking care of your body. You just pour the little bottle into the gas tank and one in the oil crankcase, every oil change, and you're good to go. It's that simple. Clean Star Products. Tell them the Peter G Show sent you. You'll get a deal. All right? Okay. Let's shift gears. First, woo, smooth. All right. So here's what's going to happen. Very shortly right here. I am. What am I doing? Oh yeah, right here. I am going to be bringing Tommy up in just a couple of seconds, and then we're going to get into this. And let me just gather my notes, and let me check on him. Let me just get it together here. So much stuff, so much to do, so little time. All right. Anyway, all right. Let's check on what's going on. Tommy, you with me?
Yes, sir, I am, buddy.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, as I said, I got someone that I actually know, that I've known for many, many years, but have not spoken to him. I mean, vocally spoken, other than a Facebook joke here and there, for over 30 years. But hey, turn that speaker down, Sonny. But as I said, he's somebody that he's a little bit younger than me, and he used to, in our musical days, he kind of used to pay attention to a few things that I've done. And
hell yeah, dude.
That's right. So on the line, I have Tommy, as I mentioned, who we're going to talk about. We're not going to talk too much about our musical endeavors, but the thing what we're going to talk about is I've watched you on Facebook, and I saw you. Whether you knew it or not, I know you were just spewing steam, but in my eyes, you were crying for help. And I kept reaching out, and, month after month would go by and I'd get nothing out of you until just recently. Is that correct?
That is correct, sir.
Yeah. All right. So let's do this again. I'm going to say this right from the very beginning. This is not a he said, this is a relationship issue, but this is not going to be a he said, she said bashing, because what's done is done. It's water under the bridge. But there are other people involved, like children, and everybody gets hurt. Family members, people got to listen to this stuff. And we're going to, just lay down the foundation as to, what you did. You got married, how many kids you had, how old they are, this and that. And then go a little from there. But then we're going to start talking about, the here and now. Okay.
All
right. So why don't you tell everybody a little quick, about yourself, and how old you are, or when you got married, and when you had kids. And if you miss something, I'll get back to you.
All right. First of all, real quick, I promised my brother I'd tell you, hey. He just called me about an hour ago.
Hey. Hey.
But my name is Tommy Jackson, and I am a divorced 55-year-old man. I have 3 kids through the same marriage, same woman. One's 16, one's 20 or 19, about to be 20, and my son is 10, about to be 11. Been with my ex for 20 years, and after 8 of those, she wants me to marry her. And I was kind of reluctant, not to be the fact that didn't know that I was going to be with her for the rest of my life. I just didn't want to get involved in all that legal stuff,
Did you have kids already?
We had Julie,
all right,
and then we had Abby.
Well, you're involved in legal stuff. Okay, go ahead.
Well, I mean, obviously, but you understand what I'm saying. I just didn't want to go through the court system. I knew that I was going to spend the rest of my life with her.
Okay.
All right. And that meant the world to me. And when it's a difference. There's a difference in getting married and getting divorced with no kids than there are with kids. You and I both can testify to that, Peter. You know what I mean? It's the way it is. There's a big difference.
You're preaching to the choir.
Yeah, amen, brother. And I just, it has taken its toll on me. And don't get me wrong. I mean, I'll tell you straight up, I made mistakes. I got my back got hurt, and it escalated from there. I quit drinking for God knows how long.
Wait. Let's back it up. All right. You just hit the key word right there. Drinking.
Yes.
That's, because that doesn't help. Okay. But you quit drinking. But how long were you drinking? Is it just you or both of you? I mean, was that drinking problem your problem, or what was the deal?
Again, I don't have anything to prove that she was drinking. So I can't say that. I can only say what I can prove before she takes me back to court.
Did you both drink?
Ironically, she texted me tonight before all this, about an hour ago, or matter of fact, about 15 minutes ago, telling me that I can't say anything that I can't back up.
Well, has anybody again? Okay, that's fine. It's hypothetical. I mean, were you both drinkers, or was it
Yes,
just you? Okay.
we were doing worse than that before Julie was born.
Okay, so you.
I mean, Peter, you know, I was in the music business. I was running around before I met Kristen. I was just supporting myself and my brother, and my brother would support me, and I support him. You know, we played together our whole lives. You know that.
I do.
Well, what I'm getting at is that at the end of the day, I was being just about me, and then I meet Kristen, and she changed my life.
Okay.
I mean, she literally did. She changed my life, and for the better, I might add. She saved me. If the truth be told, she saved me because I stopped doing all that stupid shit that I was doing prior to meeting her. And, you know, when we got pregnant with Abby, or Julie, I'm sorry, my oldest, Julie, when we got pregnant with her, we both stopped doing a bunch of shit that we were doing.
And that's the wise thing to do, because it becomes from us to that little baby. I mean, your mindset changes.
Damn right, Peter.
Instantly.
And that's my whole point, really, is that I had a choice to make, and it took me 3 months, dude. Kristen, my ex, used to come down and put down to the basement and put a note on the TV down there. Me and my buddy Joe was hanging out with. You know, I love Joe. He used to be one of our sound man in the band that me and Paul moved to Atlanta with. And he was happened to be living there at the same time. And I come off the road with Jackal so I could play with her stepdaddy. And I ended up meeting her. And it was by accident. It was nothing that I tried to do, nothing like that. It's nothing it was secretly trying to wish for. I just happened to meet her, and we just happened to hit it off, and everything was. I mean, dude, I cannot tell you the love that I felt for that girl.
That's big.
I just can't, and to this day it hurts me, even though, I mean, we'll get to that in a minute. But bottom line is that I gave my heart and soul to her, and I gave my heart and soul to my family, and I had a choice to make whether I was going to drag my daughter through the sleepless nights of the basement of somebody else's house, or I was going to try to make a better life for her. And I'm talking about my daughter and my ex.
What do you mean? What do you mean sleepless nights in the basement?
Dude, I was
partying.
Yes, man.
Okay.
Before I met Kristen, I mean, I was playing in several different bands. And they were paying me in different ways, and I was doing stupid shit. And, I mean, I'm not an innocent man in this.
Well, you're not a criminal, but you were just partying a lot. Okay, you were partying.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, I've been playing music since I've known you, and I was a teenager when I met you. You know, literally a teenager.
That's right. You were a snot-nosed little kid.
I mean, dude,
you and your brother.
Yes, sir. And we had great mentors and great people that, you know, brought us up and basically in the music business. And we all kind of looked up to me and my brother looked up to y'all. And I know you remember Everyone's Daughter, and I'm still friends with Mike Sabula, and I love John Brennan to death, man. And I love Doug. Doug helped me out. I work for Doug.
Okay, but let's get back on the. See, this is where I'm getting at. It's like, I know, okay, you love that, but let's get back to Tomi. You know what I mean? Like, I want to talk about Tomi right now. It's
I'm sorry, man.
It's okay. I love that. I told you, it's easy to get sidetracked. I told you that. It's okay.
Right.
That's why I'm here.
I'm following your lead, brother.
Okay. Here's my lead. I want to know more about Tomi. So Tomi did the right thing because his heart steered him in the right direction. You had a baby, and you started shifting gears and making that baby and your relationship your number one priority.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
After it took 3 months, I ain't gonna lie.
That's
okay. It took 3 months because I literally sat down there going, "Oh my God, I've got somebody I got to take care of."
That depends on you.
Right. You know what I mean? I'm sure you know all the emotions. I'm sure you understand what I'm saying.
That's why I'm here.
and dude, that was a big moment in my life. And I just started
It's life changing.
I had no choice.
Well, it's
Peter,
life-
I really, in my heart, I had no choice.
No, you had a choice, but you made the right choice because there are a lot of douchebags out there that just, either just like, walk away or they're just half-ass. I mean, but you made the right choice from what I can tell. Okay.
But see, but that's my point though, Peter, is that you do have a choice, but in my mind, I did not have a choice.
I get it. I'm there with you. But in reality, many people make bad choices right from the get-go. So you hung in there and you started straightening up. And what did you already have a real job, or did you go get a real job after that? What was the deal?
No, I was, dude. I mean, I was scraping for whatever money I could make, doing whatever job.
Okay.
I've always been a healthy dude. I always relied on my back to make my money.
Yeah.
And whether it be drumming or painting or electrical or low voltage,
right?
Whatever it, I do. I don't want to. I do not want to sound like a broken record. That's what I'm trying.
It's okay. It's like we were musicians. We weren't neurosurgeons.
Hell no. And and I think back on it, like looking back on the days where I would watch like bands like Rat and whatnot, and them guys hanging signs after their careers on billboards next to the highway, and I'm like, I am not going to end up like that. Mm-hmm. But sure as shit, I did end up like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that'll never happen to me.
Yeah, right. I'm never going to let that happen.
All right, so let's start fast forwarding a little bit. So you got it together. Your relationship when you got it together was staying okay then?
Yeah, dude. I mean, I went off and no high school education and I literally went to Delaware and stayed at my aunt's trailer and started doing electrical work there because I was doing electrical work here. And my cousin was super supportive because I'm telling you, without my family and friends, none of this, I would not be even close. I'd be a dead man.
Okay.
I'm just telling.
Fair enough. That's love. And thank you.
And
you're aware of it.
They all appreciated the work that I would put in, you know?
Okay.
And so I did what I was doing and got up there, and then I got a phone call one day about going to Texas from my little sister, Ann. And Ann tells me that her husband, Sam, who I love to death, was offered me a job out in Texas, and we were in Dover, right?
Dover,
Delaware.
Okay.
And I was literally, Peter, I was working 60 hours a week, coming home and passing out.
Did you go to Texas?
I did go to Texas.
Did you all move to Texas, or you just went to Texas?
Well, I went to Texas first, and to make sure that it was real.
Okay.
Because they were offering me, I went from making $360 a week to going to Texas and making straight out $125 a day, 7 days a week. That is a huge, especially for somebody like me, that is a huge difference. I ain't made that much money since I left high school playing in a band.
I get it, but
you know what I mean?
Okay, but
back then, money was easy to make playing music. You know what I mean?
It still wasn't a whole lot, but either way, again, a different situation. You had one child, and then, but your relationship. Okay, so you got a job making more money. Did you all move over there, or did you just stay away and come home for the weekends, the week?
No, sir. Me and my brother-in-law and his brother moved out there.
Yeah.
And we stayed for about 3 months until I found out that this was real. Because I spent the first 3 months of that job going, how am I making this much money? I'm not even doing anything.
Okay.
You know?
Okay, but so you're away, and your wife and your baby are in Delaware.
No, they are actually here at my mom's house in Fort Payne, Alabama at the time.
Okay, so you didn't see your kids. I mean, your child, because you're working, you're doing you're trying to make some money. Happens a lot, it's the sacrifice you make. Okay, but then you come home, and then
once I realized that it was for real and I can actually make a living out there, and my brother-in-law did too. We brought my sister's family out, and we brought my family out.
Okay, so that way you weren't okay. So she moved out, and you weren't just taking off and coming back every so many months, and you could at least be home to see your child and your wife every day.
Not at that point, because at that point I was a right-of-way agent, and I was going to the courthouse every day, and I was able to land my ass back in Fort Worth every day. So we moved our families out there. We both got separate apartments, and then next thing you know, I'm doing right away one day, and we have the company I was working for had a survey department, a brand new survey department, and I actually went over and asked them because I don't like working in the courthouse. I'd rather be outside.
Okay.
And so I literally went over there and told my supervisor that that I was wanting to. My interest was in surveying because as a right-of-way agent, I went out there and got 25 of my lots completely gone. And if you know anything about surveying or right-of-way agent, when you're running a gas pipeline, if you can condense 25 properties into nothing, then you're doing a really good job. And I was only able to do that because of the surveyors, and that caught my interest. You know, I met with the surveyors, and they told me, hey, you're sitting on a right-of-way that's got 25 properties on it, and they're all back-to-back, and it's already got an existing right-of-way. So we ain't got to do shit. And I was like, well, hell yeah. So that caught my interest, and I ended up being a surveyor. I took that surveying job, and I'm trying to be quick about it. I took that surveying job and ended up making $125 a day starting off. Before it was all said and done, I was making $130,000 a year, and I had all my crews. I had literally 17 to 24 crews at a time, and I was doing what was best for my family.
Okay, so life.
And
look,
I was gone all the time, and my ex was sitting there with my kids, and she was working with a job that I got her, by the way. But she was working, and which I was absolutely ecstatic about.
who was watching the baby?
I was busting my ass, dude.
Who was watching the baby?
Well, that's the whole point. Is that it got to the point to where she was making X amount of dollars, and then it turned out to be to where I can't remember why she lost that job. I really can't.
Okay.
But the thing was that whatever she worked,
It went to
took away. It added up to be. It added up to be what it cost to take care of Julie.
Well, that's every day. Everybody's struggling with that situation. There's no doubt about it. Okay, so here, but we got to look. I got to keep cutting. Okay, so but life was good though. You were making money. You could pay the bills, and you were all together. Correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I was never there. But maybe I want to say 6 weeks out of the year. You know, and that sucked. That part killed me, and I regret that for the rest of my life. That I gave up. No, I mean, money is one thing, dude. Yeah. But teaching your children and being able to wake up every day, kissing them, and
I get it.
I know you know what I'm talking about.
I gave up money. I gave up money.
That is a different monster. You know what I mean?
And you can't get it back. I mean, they're growing.
And the whole time, Peter. The whole time I'm out on the road doing this shit, I'd run into older guys, and I wasn't but in my late 30s, early 40s, and I'd run into these older guys telling me, you're going to regret this one day. You're going to regret it. Yeah, and they were damn sure right.
I know.
Every one of them.
Okay, but look, you know, number one, you have to make a living. I mean, it happens to people all the time. It's you're not at the luxury of picking and choosing, you know, what, when, and where, and how. I mean, yes, maybe there was some other choices out there, but this is what you fell into. The bills stay paid. We got to keep moving. For the most part, were things working? Because you got 2 more children to go through.
All right, everything was working great, and everything was working fine. Okay. And then when the pipeline, believe it or not, I don't want to get into politics, but gas pipelining has got a lot to do with politics.
Okay, I get it.
All right, and what happened was that the pipeline stopped being built, and not out of all those crews that I was telling you about, and all my friends that were on the side, none of them, not one of them, have a job still pipelining.
Okay. Well, we all know that happened a lot when this whole Green New Deal baloney and all that. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. But still, now wait a minute. So were you you had 2 more kids, and you told me one's almost 20, one's almost 17.
She's almost 17.
Okay,
Yeah,
and one's almost 11. So there's a big span there. We're gonna push this up because again, I need to get to the forget about why or how you fell apart. The thing was you've stated you love this woman to death. You were truly in love, and you love your children. Is that fair enough to say?
absolutely. Never, ever, ever did I have a doubt in my mind that I would end up being in the position I'm at now.
Okay, well,
I truly thought that she was my soulmate. I truly thought that she would be by my side no matter what. And we had conversations about this when we first got together about me getting older.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it happens though. You're not the
right.
first.
You're right. I get it, and I understand that. But at the same time, I'm still trying to raise my children.
That's true.
I'm still trying to provide the best life that I can.
Okay.
So when we ended up leaving Texas, I went from making $130,000 a year, and I told her this. I absolutely told her this. If we moved back to Georgia like she wanted to, I was going to lose all that money and be lucky to make $20,000 a year, which is exactly what I ended up doing.
Yep.
All right. So I'm busting my ass the whole time. And keep in mind, prior to this, I was having back troubles in Texas.
Okay.
And then I get to Georgia. I worked 7 years again, 7 years straight for the same company, doing surveying. Yeah. I was a land surveyor. And then it turns out to where my back started interfering with that. Yeah. And I mean, in a big way, bro. A big way.
I get it.
And then I ended up losing my job over that because I couldn't go in anymore. My legs were collapsing from out from underneath me,
Okay, so much for the death do us part thing. I mean, money is a big issue in lots of relationships. Do you think that money had a big part to do with this?
You damn right it did. I mean, I'm sorry, bro. I don't want. I mean, I can't prove that, but I could say my feelings on this part. Money had a lot to do with it because I started drinking again. Like I stopped drinking for all them years, and I started drinking again when my back started like keeping me from going to work when I lost my job. You know how I lost my job? I'm in the truck with my daughter, my oldest, and I'm letting her drive my truck, and my boss calls me, and I answer the phone, and he fires me right in front of my daughter, because I can't come in as much as I need to come in.
Right. All right. I know that feeling too. Again, I think if you live long enough on this planet, you go through a lot of this stuff, and money is a major thing. But you don't think that, and this stuff happens naturally too. See, in the beginning, it's just like being on the road in a relationship. When you're on the road touring and music and all that, you don't see the girl that you're with, except for when you come home. And so everything when you come home, it's exciting again. You don't think that being home, that you two were just getting older, and then it just wasn't, as exciting, or the desire wasn't there as much, or besides the money?
I would like to laugh about that because it's funny, but Kristen, all I'm gonna say to this: my ex gave me everything I could ever want out of a wife.
Okay. All right.
And that's the God's honest truth. She was a great wife.
Okay. Now wait, let's stop right there. So then I'm fast forwarding. So now you've got 3 kids. And you're telling me that she was a great wife and she gave you everything you needed
until I got hurt.
Okay. And
when I got hurt, Peter, and I lost my last job in front of my daughter, I started drinking again. And that's on me. And I completely accept that.
Okay.
But see, when you get married, in my mind, and especially when you have kids, you don't turn your back on people, on your loved one, on your spouse, your soulmate, because of that.
Whoa.
Now, she could tell you straight up that I was a belligerent asshole.
That's what I was getting to. Were you?
You know what I mean?
Were you?
And I might have been. My brother always tells me I was,
Well, I'm going to believe your brother. The thing is, alcohol is a tough thing, and dealing with would you say that you became an alcoholic?
Oh, dude, no, I am an alcoholic. I still drink,
Okay.
but I don't drink like I used to. Those 3 years that I was before Kristen sent me over here with the understanding that I was going to get my shit together and she was going to get her shit together. I drank 2 to 3 bottles of cheap ass wine every night. And I was just absolutely miserable with myself. I could not, there was no way out for me. There was no way of fixing my back without surgery.
Did she ever sit down with you and say, dude, this isn't good. We need to figure this out? That you can remember?
No, not that I can remember.
Here's what I'm getting out of it. You became a drunk and she said, screw this, I'm out. Am I missing something?
For the most part, you're right. I'll give that to her.
Okay. I mean, that's all. But can I, even to this day, can you still say now, because I know you've gone through, how long you guys have been separated now?
It's been a year now.
Okay, so a year, and there's been probably a lot of hostility in between, correct?
Dude, on her part, her life is happy. I'm just still stuck here going, what the hell just happened?
I said hostility, not happiness. She's happy and you're not happy. I mean, do you guys even talk at all anymore?
Dude, she just texted me before the show.
Okay.
And sent me all these texts talking about suing me again or taking me back to court. Blah, blah.
Yeah, we're just having a conversation. That's all.
I know.
And
I know.
And nobody knows who the heck she is anyway. And nobody knows who the heck you are anyway. And even if not, it's like, this isn't anything that everyday people, every 3 doors down, go through the same crap. That's why when you go to divorce court, you look at the judge and they're not even, there's no emotion, because they're like coroners. They hear it all day long, 8 times a day. And it's just, which type of death was it? But, and move on.
Right. Dude, did I tell you I had to go and take a parenting class online in order for my divorce to get final? Well, and it's still not final.
No, but
it's still not
it's
divorced.
a big, dude, look, it's a big money racket. I had to go in person to take parenting classes, and they were the stupidest, there was people there for anger management and all this kind of crap. And it's like, I had to jump through hoops because it's the system. When you get in the system, because as grown adults, you can't solve your own problems, you're handing it over to total strangers, and it's all about money. So,
right. You're right. $60 that we had to pay for me to take that class.
Well, over here is $300. Okay, so
what I'm getting at though is you still got to pay to take the class, and it had 76 questions on it. The last 6 questions were all about the damn test and how you felt about it.
Yeah, it's a survey basically.
Well, I mean, come on though. It's a money racket thing for the government.
Did you guys have lawyers, or did you go into court on your own? Had to file the papers and just go to court?
Well, basically, she went and borrowed money from somebody I don't want to mention.
Okay, I don't need you to mention.
And got our divorce started. I was going to do the same thing, but I was dragging my ass because I really just could not believe what was happening.
It's hard to accept. I get it.
It still is, dude. I mean.
Okay.
I'm not. It's been a year, and that's why I texted you the other night, is because it's driving me crazy.
I get it. Okay, if you had lawyers, for what it's worth, they wouldn't end that divorce until you're just about out of money. They just work, and just if they see that you're on a rampage, they're going to bleed you and drag it out for every last dollar. And then the lawyers go into the back room with the judge and they go, listen, the money's running out, and we need to wrap this up. And all of a sudden the divorce is wrapped up, and however the outcome may fall, you sit there with your mouth dragging the ground, and you're broke because you just paid a bunch of lawyers or still owe lawyers. And because as adults, like I said, we can't handle our own personal relationships.
How unfair is that, though, to the average citizen? How unfair is that?
Nobody twisted their arms to go get a lawyer. They just happened to be there at the waiting, unfortunately.
Well, I didn't get a lawyer.
Well, I know. I know. But you went to court. You went to court, right?
We didn't go to court.
Oh, you're lucky.
We settled all this, under what do you call that? Where we were mutually agreeing to separate,
Did you have somebody in front of you?
No.
Mediation?
Absolutely not. Never went to a judge. Never went to a courthouse.
Mediation, nothing. Not a go-between. Nobody.
Nothing. Sent me the
All right.
papers. I had them signed and notarized.
All right.
And I got my son. You know what I mean? I've got my boy. And my girls, the only reason they're not with me is because they got lives in Canton, Georgia.
Okay, but let's talk about the kids, because let me just finish it with this. You're lucky you didn't have to go to court, because in court you're sitting there waiting your turn as there's all these strangers around you, all there for the same stuff, waiting to have to unfortunately air out their dirty laundry in front of strangers. You want to talk about nerve-wracking and
oh my God,
and frustrating. It is the absolute worst. But now let's move on. You didn't have to go through that. Are you officially divorced yet, or you're still in the process? We're
still in the process, waiting on the final word.
Okay. Let's talk about your kids, because you're saying you have your boy. To me, yes. I wait a minute. And for the sake of my audience, are you and your ex in the same town?
No.
How far apart?
2 hours.
Oof. Not bad. Could be worse.
Yeah, so, we meet an hour a piece to swap them off every couple weeks.
What about your daughters? You don't have time with your daughters?
I have no time with my daughters unless they make time, because I cannot afford to go over there. I have no place to stay over there. I've been forbidden by Kristen's mama that I can't, or my ex's mama, that I can't be over there, and I'm not welcome there.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, but here's the thing, because you said your daughters are almost 17, almost 20. At that age, they start growing and getting independent. They get a car, or maybe, or they're able to drive, and it gets harder. They start developing lives, and you're starting to lose. Let me tell you, even if they lived with you, you wouldn't see them as much, because I'm living proof now. I'm seeing my daughter when I cook something she likes. I love her to death, and she loves me, but it's just she's got things to do, just like we had things to do back in the day.
Right. Can I ask you real quick, just so I'm on the same page? How's your daughter now?
She's 8, almost 19.
Oh my God! See, same age as Julie, my oldest, right?
The same thing. In December, she'll be 19, and it was a blink of an eye. But I gave up almost everything to give every second. I had to go sell cars to be available to her, because I couldn't go touring or anything, because I had 50-50 custody, and I fought for that, even though it was given to me right off the bat. And if I just fought all those years, 3 years in court, and then took off to make money, it would have defeated the whole purpose of why I fought to hold on to my custody. And
Amen.
And I adored that child, just like you do, and just like parents should. And I volunteered at the schools. I did everything I could, and I didn't make a whole lot of money, and I struggled. This has been the roughest part of my life. Even now, it still is not in full. I haven't gotten back to who I was or whatever, but I'm grateful just to be. But the problem is, I'm asking you about splitting up your kids. Like, that's like cutting them in half. Well, what does your son say? How old is he? 10?
Yeah, he's 10, and
he's still young.
Yes, he is. And man, like I lost my daddy when I was 13, right?
Yeah.
And that threw me for a loop.
Oh, I know.
But he didn't lose his daddy.
No.
He didn't lose his mama.
Yes.
He's just thrown into this abyss.
I get it. They're caught in the middle. Look, I'm all about the kids, because I've watched watching my daughter go through grade schools and elementary schools, and my biggest fear was her getting all tore up between the issues I was having with her mother, because her mother would not let up on me about the custody thing, and just fought me tooth and nail. And the thing was, prior to our divorce, I was the greatest thing since sliced bread. So it was just anger, and anger does a lot of damage. But your kids, your boy's younger, so he's not really picking up on everything like your daughters probably are. Am I correct?
Yeah. See me. Can I say something?
Sure.
All right. Me and my daughters, and I mean both of them. I've grown so close to my daughters that we used to sit out on the porch, even when I was going through all of the shit. Now, when I was drinking, we would sit out on the porch, and I would talk to her and her friends and give them life advice, and they would talk to me, and dude, it was awesome.
I know, but here's the thing.
I miss that more than anything.
Look, I know you do. You have to. But the thing is, you're shit-faced, and you're giving life advice, and they're going, "Oh, my dad's got a buzz going." Come on.
No, dude, it wasn't like that. Okay. I can promise you. Okay. You can ask them.
I don't know.
I wouldn't say anything that wasn't true. I guarantee you that.
Okay.
But I'm trying to make sure that I tell you things that I could prove.
Well,
And what I can prove is that my daughters actually love me and their friends love me. They still text me to this day.
Look, Tommy, I don't doubt that they love you. You're their father. I've seen more father. The problem I have is my ex had an ex prior to me and my ex had 2 girls, and he was a worthless father. He was a great guy. Like, guys would say, yeah, he's a great guy. He's great to hang around with. He loved to play golf and get buzzed with his friends. But as a father, showing up to do when they were young, he wasn't very good at all. I
wasn't even there, Peter. I was working.
I get it, but my point being is that, like, even a father that screws up in a child's eyes, that's still their Superman, because even when you're not around, you get, like, let's say, I know you wanted to be around, but if you weren't around because you were busy running around, let's say you kept up the partying life and stayed out all night and all this crap, they would still love you because you weren't there to do anything wrong. So they make up stuff in their own head, and regardless of how awful that you should have been there. So if you are there, that's even more. It's like, there's no reason, how can your kids not love you? I mean, they're your kids just like you love them. I tell my daughter, there's no words to say what the magnitude of my love is for this child. I'm crazy about her.
You know, it's funny when you say that, though. Every time I tell my son that I love him, you know what he says back to me?
What?
I love you more.
That's what I say to my daughter. I love you more.
And seriously, dude. I mean, I'm like, dude, not possible. Yeah, that's all I say. It's just not possible.
So long as the word isn't abused, and it's really, because anybody can say I love you. I mean, guys, when you're dating girls, you say I love you. It's like, but you know what I mean. The thing is, I always didn't want that word abused. But my point being is, like, kids unconditionally, I mean, unless you're abusing them or doing something really funky, they're gonna, every child needs both their mother and their father. Now, you said you lost your father at 13. That couldn't be helped. But my daughter's bestie has lost her father a couple of years ago, and I see in her eyes, and she's 18 years old, that the desire, the loss, that she misses her father, and they need
bless her heart, brother.
You need both. Yeah, it happens all the time. So here you both are. You need to give those kids balance, regardless of your issues. Those kids, because I'm all about the kids more than anything. You need to give those kids balance. Both the girls. How often do you talk to the girls since you don't see them?
Every day.
Okay, good. There you go. Bingo.
If I don't talk to them, we're texting.
Okay, cool. I mean,
I'm serious, dude.
I'm the same way. I get it.
I know, and I know you get it, but I just absolutely love my children.
I know. You have. I mean, you should. That's like, I don't know. That should be.
I don't see how there's a choice in that, Peter. I just don't. I
know, but there's a lot of messed up people in this world, and unfortunately, it happens a lot. So, okay, at least we know that's going on. But let's go back to Tommy now, because the clock is flying. We're already okay.
I'm sorry,
no,
brother.
That's not your fault. It's a lifelong story. But the thing is, Tommy. So, I mean, let me ask you this, and you don't have to answer this or not. But I mean, if your ex was to say, I understand we went through a whole bunch of bullshit and all that, and I understand you're injured, would you ever go back to her?
Never.
Really?
Yeah, dude, she crossed the line. We had a line. Okay. I've always lived on that line, and that's the way I want to raise my children.
Okay.
And I can't cross back over that. If I do, then I'm not raising them the way that I believe is correct. Okay. And you can make fun of that all you want.
I'm not
people
making
can talk.
fun.
People, I'm sorry. I'm serious, man. You, not just you, but anybody listening can make their point. But and to get their family back together. And believe me, I thought about it, Peter. I did. Yeah. I actually thought about it, and then I get mad at myself for even thinking about it.
No, because
it's not my morals. It's not the morals I want to raise my kids with.
If you stay with a spouse, whether it's male or female or whatever, just for the sake of your kids, and you're miserable inside, you're not doing anything good for them. I mean,
and again, that's why according to her, that's why she left me, because she was miserable.
Okay, fair enough.
And I got to accept that, and I got to deal with that.
Okay.
And which I'm still, being a year later, I got a whole lot of emotions, man. I mean, it's like I miss my soulmate. I I miss her, but I would never, ever, ever be able to touch her again after what she's done.
Okay, and I don't know I don't know whether you want to.
I'm just telling you that's enough said.
Okay,
I'm just saying.
So we have to use our imagination, and but let's go now. We're going to get to.
Well, we can use Facebook posts.
No. We're not going there. It's just let's. The thing is here. What's done is done. I just wanted to rule that in. I wanted to let's go on a couple of things and just bullet points. You loved her. She somehow crossed the line after you got sick or got hurt and wasn't making enough money, and the relationship kind of shifted and changed. Somehow or another, she crossed the line and she left you, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. But your kids, you're still on great speaking terms with your kids. You haven't lost the respect of your kids. Is that right?
Oh, hell yes. Man, my kids love me and I love them.
I mean, but can I assume that they love their mother too? Or is there?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, recently, yes. Yes. Okay. My son always, because he's 10.
Yeah, he's a little boy.
He doesn't understand any of what's going on. He loves his mom.
And they really don't need to know this shit. I tried to keep my little girl for as long as possible because once it's gone, it's gone.
You're dead right, brother. Dead right.
I kept.
And why is that funny? Because, I mean, it's kind of funny. I don't mean why is that funny, but it's kind of funny that only people that respect their children and respect what they're trying to do actually keep focus on that. I mean, am I making any sense?
No, I get it, but I mean, I kept the Santa Claus thing going till she was way past 13, and she's agreeing with me and not saying a whole lot. She's conning me, going, I'm making him happy by not blowing his bubble.
Bless her heart.
Yeah, exactly. But okay, but that's what you do for the love, because I love the magic when they of in their eyes of all that special stuff about being a child. I mean, that was just amazing. The innocence.
Dude, you don't want to rob them of that.
No,
you just don't. Okay. And if you're any kind of a human that isn't a piece of shit, and I'm gonna go ahead and say it, you don't want to rob your kids of that.
But at the same time, if you're having knockdown dragouts in front of them, that's not helping either. And unfortunately, it's unavoidable. And when you're so pissed off and they happen to be around and listening to you, he said, she said, that stuff is unhealthy. It happens all the time. You don't mean it because you're in the moment, but that does a lot of damage to them too.
You're right.
Okay. Would you?
I want to tell you about something that my daughters would talk to me about, but I'm afraid to.
All right. Well, okay. Look, so they heard, and look, there's no doubt that in a lot of these relationships with kids, the parent is talking shit about another parent. It just happens. Although,
right. Well, I mean, no. See, that's where you're wrong, Peter, because they would come to me wanting me to do something about the way I was being treated. Let's just say that. Okay. And I would tell them, you do not give up on a marriage just because you are going through some bad times. That's not what a marriage is about.
Yeah.
You understand? I was trying to preach to them that no matter what, you're going to be with them till the end.
Tommy,
and I ended up looking like a fool out of all this.
Well, okay. But look, in this day and age, the whole world is very 15 minutes. The days of my mother and father having knockdown dragouts, I mean, I going, what the hell is going on? And then they could just brush themselves off and get over it and move on. There's not many people left that can do that in today's society. They just, if something's not going right, after they just go, you know what, I'm out, regardless of the situation, which sucks. It sucks. There's no more.
But you don't put your kids through that shit.
Well,
dude.
A lot of people do. Okay, so here's the thing. Now we're going to go into the final quarter here of what's going on. I want to talk about Tomi, because Tommy's got a problem that it's eating you up. Now, what are we going to do about Tomi to make I mean, are you still drinking?
I not like I used to, by no means. I'm not gonna lie. I still have my beer.
Okay,
but it's no longer. I'm not sitting around getting drunk and wasted every night or even at all. I just don't do that anymore.
Okay.
I can't, because I'm literally trying to put my life back together in a way that I know that I can do physically.
All right.
And you know what I mean? But, and that I want my son to be happy. I want him to respect me. I want money to be able to do shit with him. And
okay. But you just hit it on the head though. Respect. I mean, you want your kids to respect you. They've watched you go through all these emotions, correct?
Yes.
Because you can't help it. They're around. They've watched you go through all of this. And then, God knows what's going in their heads. They either worry about you or go, oh my God, this or that. I mean, it just, who knows? But you want their respect and you want to be a better person. I mean, so what do you think you need to do to change all this?
Well, to be honest with you, I'm doing it now, brother.
What is that?
I went and found me a job, and I owe a lot of that to my mom because I'm living with my mother.
You got it.
And me and my son are both with my mother, and this is where Kristen wanted us to be. My ex, wanted us to be.
Yeah. Until
we got our shit together, and then I got the bad news 3 weeks after I moved here.
Oh.
That being said, I am literally. It's taken me a year, and I'm not even kidding you. This is something that if you're going through this, you have got to just. I can't even give advice about it so much as I can misfortune. I mean, it's like you did everything you were supposed to do, and it wasn't good enough.
As far as you know, it was.
Well, I mean, no, you can take away the drinking that I was when I got hurt.
Yeah.
All right, just take that away.
Yeah.
Let's not forget about the 17 years prior to that I killed myself trying to keep this family together and keep everybody happy.
Okay, I get that. But here's the thing, Tommy. So you're together 20 years basically, and
yes.
and now you're going through this unraveling and it's a year, and you're going, I can't believe it's a year, dude. You can't just take 20 years and in 20 minutes, change your life around. Unfortunately.
No.
Okay.
You're absolutely right.
So I'm not going to say that, it's like, dude, what's taking you so long? Just, no, it doesn't work that way. It got torn down in an instant after all that. So it's going to take you some time, but you got to get it out of your head and decide what's most important and what you want to keep in your head to hang on to and what you need to let go because it's wrecking your brain.
All right. If we're going to talk about this, let me say something. I never wanted to be alone. And that being said, I have to give all that up for my kids.
What do you mean?
I'm going to be alone for the rest of my life. There ain't nobody that's going to want me.
How do you know that?
I'm 55 years old, Peter.
So... Dude, you know what? You used to tell me you used to. I was an inspiration to you for things, right?
Yes, you still are.
Okay, I mean, through the music and all that, you watched and admired and learned and this and that.
Not to mention the motorcycle accident. Let's not leave that.
Oh no, I will tell that story. In fact, thank you for reminding me because I will tell that story. That is, I wish I need a diagram. I was going to make a diagram of it and I forgot. But wait a minute. Here's my point. The thing is, you for some reason we're in each other's lives for years, or the earlier years, and through those earlier years, there was a lot of inspiration. You being younger, watching me, who was already at a different level that you were achieving to be.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, here we are now in a different venue, but 55 is not anything to be saying who's going to want me. If nobody's going to want you, if Tommy doesn't want, if you just keep that attitude, sure, but life isn't over until it's over. I mean, I see people that get together in their 70s and 80s, and I'm going, holy crap. Do you remember being 20 and you're looking at somebody 30 and you're going, dude, they're 30. And I'm going, how stupid was that when I was thinking about
Hey, back up, dude.
Yeah.
For Tiana from TNT.
We'll talk about that off the air. All right. We'll talk about that off there. I forgot. Okay. Let's get to the point here because I'm running out of time.
I'm listening. I'm sorry, brother.
It's okay. It's okay. This is, I need a 20-hour catch up because, again, we haven't spoken in 33 years or more. I mean,
Right.
I've been in LA 33 years, and other than a Facebook comment, that's it. So I didn't know what's
But
going.
I've been watching you like you've been watching me, though.
Well, I get it. I'm more of an open book. I mean, I started the show being an open book. If you saw any of my earlier shows, I lived by example. I lived and I told my stories. And again, I didn't really blame this and that, but I talked about the emotions you go through. I am no professional, but I've lived long enough to have a pretty decent gauge on things, and it's only my opinion. So nothing is to be set in stone. I think by talking about it, and you could probably adjust yourself after you hear yourself. My question to you again is, what's Tomi gonna? You said you're already working, you're doing that now. You said you have a couple of beers. I mean, at this point, for the sake of for your son seeing you at night and stuff like that, which he probably doesn't think anything of it because it's just normal. But is it really necessary? Can Tomi just?
You're and I don't mean to interrupt you, but you're asking me the same question that my mother does, basically.
She's probably right.
Yeah, and she and my brother too. He called me today, wanting to know about what I was going to do with the show and all this other stuff, and wanted me to say hi to you.
Hey.
But he seriously, man, I've got family and friends that love me to death, and if it wasn't for them, I could not even. I don't even think I could breathe right now.
Okay, but what's your point?
I am doing my best to let this go.
Yeah.
All right. And when it comes to the drinking,
yeah,
I am an alcoholic. I admit that.
Yeah.
I've been to AA meetings. I've been seeing my therapist for 7 years now.
Yeah.
I've seen a psychiatrist in every state that I've been in.
Well, how's that working?
The psychiatrists can all go kiss my ass. I'm not taking any more drugs for these people.
Oh no, drugs is not the answer.
I had to clear my head, Peter.
Yeah.
And this is what I did, and this is what you're asking me.
Yeah.
I had to clear my head. And I chose on my own to stop doing all the crap that they had me on. And I did this without my mother's knowledge, without any of my family, friends, nothing. I just did it on my own.
Okay.
I stopped taking the Valium. I stopped taking the damn drugs that they had me on.
Yeah, that's stupid.
And I wanted to clear my head. And then when I cleared my head, I realized where the hell I was at.
Well, see, the drugs is what muddies everything up. I didn't know. You didn't tell me that part when I was doing the pre-interview about that.
I'm sorry, brother.
That's okay. That's okay. That's a good thing, because all these therapists and this and that, unless you get lucky enough and find one that really gels with you, as you said, it could be a waste of time. I'm not saying they all are, but I've got more people that have gotten.
You're right.
Huh?
You're right. You're absolutely right.
I've had more people get better things out of conversations like this with friends than any therapist can do at $150 an hour.
Right.
But okay, so again, you started getting because your mother, and I liked your mother. I hadn't seen her in all these years either, but I mean, she was always very cool. But an outsider looking on the inside is easier said than done. But again, they make a valid point because we're seeing it from a different perspective. How important is your life being being the sparkle in your kids' eyes to you? And I mean, is those couple of beers, do you really need, if you can quit all that drinking, is the extra couple of beers, what is it doing for you?
It's not, see, the way I look at it in my mind is that I'm not doing anything to hinder any of that. I'm really not. It's not like I'm sitting around getting wasted on 3 bottles of wine anymore. I'm going to sit around and have a beer when I get off work, just like everybody else.
Not everybody.
Well, not everybody, but the majority of people.
I understand, but I'm going to give you a little example, and I hate dropping names and all that, but 7 years ago when I first started the divorce and single parenting shows, really, that was my takeoff. I started right at the top, and I went with my friend, Steve Lukather, who's one of the biggest guitar players in the world, period, end of story. I mean, he's not only with Toto, but Ringo Starr. He's played with every major guitar player in the world, wrote and hit songs. I mean, he's got it all.
You play with Toto. That's all I need to hear.
Listen to me. Don't worry about that. Listen to me. It's not about that. We're about Tomi right now. The thing is, Steve sat there, which I didn't know because I hadn't spoken to him a while because my life was upside down and I completely disappeared because I went underground because I was a mess. And when I started doing the show, we started talking. At 55, he quit cold turkey smoking and drinking. And you want to talk about a rager. This guy could have, you're in every part of the world, and all these people are surrounded, and they're constantly bringing up trays in Europe. I remember the trays of shots, for everybody. And I mean, I dragged that guy to his room because, he was just raging. We all were. But the thing is, all of a sudden, I looked at him in my interview, and it's on tape. You can go watch it anytime you want with the interview with him. And he stopped cold turkey because it was time in his life where he said, it's time to stop. I'm tired of being of being wrecked like that. I got a new set of kids, then they're younger. I need to stop. And he's been straight for over 10 years now.
Well, see, that's my demon right now. That is my big.
It's not
demon,
easy. It's not easy. But I mean, I sit around sometimes. I'm going, man, I should make myself a drink. I'm at home or something like that. I'm going, no, because I'm gonna make myself a drink, and it doesn't do anything. I always regret it afterwards. I'm going, why would I want to drink at home? And it's like one thing if once in a while you're out for a beer or something, but the daily stuff, the daily routine of having a drink every day, not only is it going to catch up with your liver eventually and things like that or whatever.
You're right.
But,
dead right.
But on top of that, it's just, you're talking about money. A couple of beers. It's money. Could be spending on your kid. And is it really making that much of a difference? I know in your head, it's calling your name every day. But how strong you want to be?
Stronger than I am.
How important is it to you?
More important than me.
Okay, I'm not asking you, tomorrow, but if like during the week, every time you thought about you wanting to have a beer, and this isn't going to change your life, but it might change your life. If every time you think about like, I want to go grab a beer, you just turn around and say, nah, and you don't have it in the house, and then you just forget about it and do something else and focus on your kids. I mean, at this point, we've already ruled out your ex, so that's over with. Forget about it. It'll slowly dissipate. That pain will, you got to keep your brain and your mind busy and get involved in things, and not just bury yourself in the kids. I know a lot of exes and wives and stuff, they just bury themselves in pets and children. You got to have a life. You will develop a life eventually. You have to. It's stupid if you don't. It's around you all day long.
I hear you.
I'm just saying this stuff so when you listen to this show for the 49th or 150th time, and I advise you to, while you're working, put it in, an earbud in your ear, Google the podcast, you can listen to the audio. You're going to hear yourself, and you're going to hear me again. Right now, you're in the moment, and there's so much going on in your head, it's passing you by. But if you want to be good for your kids, if that's not enough driving force, then you need to be good for yourself too. Or because if you check out early due to some illness or, things start catching up with you, what good is going through all this and living for your kids if you can't live?
You're right.
I mean, right now you're healthy, kind of. I mean, maybe you have some back pain and things like that, but at least you're alive. There's a lot of people. Think about all the people we know have already died, and they've left their families behind and things like that.
You ain't lying, brother. You ain't lying.
All right. Life, I mean, no matter how bad it is, and I bitch and complain every single day, but I also finish it off with, man, there's people way worse off than me. Way worse off than me. So
you're dead right, brother.
And you're grateful for every day. Man, life today was a pain in the ass, but I'm alive.
I got a friend right now. I'm seriously... hell, I got a friend that just had open heart surgery. I got a friend, a really close friend, and they're all close to me, but his son just had testicular cancer. I hope I said that right.
Testicular, yeah, you're fine.
And he just had a lemon-sized nut removed out of him, you know?
Yeah.
And that puts things in perspective for you, because if that was to happen to one of my kids, I don't know. I don't even know how to handle it.
Well, now you're opening up another can of worms, because I always thank God for, like, my child came out healthy, all 5 fingers, is got no major issues. Think of all these special needs children, these parents, and they love these children and all that they got to go through because of it. And you got 3 healthy children from what I'm figuring. And, so Tommy needs to take care of Tommy first before he can be good for anybody else. You may not see how much better you can be, but I'm willing to bet that you'll realize it down the road. But I'm not expecting you to just overnight, there's going to be this overnight change. But the problem is you need to, I don't care if you put a sticky note on your mirror on the bathroom every day to look at it, which I've done and I still do, of things I need to remind myself about. But life, is a gift, and it doesn't have to be this way. Could have been better for you, but it could have been worse for you.
I'm not going to argue with that, Peter.
I appreciate it. Look, we're running out of time. I do want to. You reminded me. I wanted to tell this story, and I'm going to tell it. I wish I had the. I can't do it. I wish I had a diagram. Anyway, I'm going to tell this story. And look, when it's all said and done, like I said, you're really going to have to let go of the shit that's the energy you're expending in your brain. And I know it's easier said than done. I'd be spewing in my head over shit that was going on with my ex. I'd be walking in a store like Walmart or something, and all of a sudden start talking out loud because my brain was going so heavy. And I'd and I stop and I'd look around going, I hope nobody's looking at me. They're going, what the hell is wrong with this crazy guy? But that's how it affects you.
Yeah, you're right.
And it's
you're
still, that's right. But it takes time. But you have to keep a conscious effort, or you're just going to stay in limbo. And limbo isn't where it's at. Your children need to grow, and you need to grow. You know, you can't be stuck at saying, oh, I'm 55, my life is over. I hate when I see these women, they're going, I'm old. It's like, okay, you know, that's going to get you nowhere.
Well, I lost my soulmate, and I'm not.
Okay, but you know what? I hate to say it, but there's plenty of people out there, and believe it or not, let me put it to you this way, because again, I see it on Facebook. There's people whose spouses pass away. And some people may go to their grave never having anybody else. But if you're 55 or something like that, there's nothing you could have done to change that. And to stay single and just be and stay underground, if somebody's around that can make you happy while you're living on this earth, nobody's gonna say, what the hell's wrong with you for that? Hell, I've seen people remarried 4 or 5 times. I'm going, the first 2 times should have killed you, but then they finally got it right, and they're with somebody from, like, let's say you got married at 57 or found somebody at 57 and lived to 80 years old. It's like, how could you deny that happiness that you would have possibly not had with the wrong attitude?
Well, I'm not going to lie. I got a whole lot of love to give to somebody.
Okay, that's fine. Then quit shutting the door. Leave the door open, okay?
I'm with you, brother.
Leave the door open. Better Tommy makes more desirable Tommy. And stop downing yourself. Get your act. Get it together. It ain't going to take overnight. It's going to take a while. But at least if it's in your head that you want to be a better you, believe me, all kinds of better stuff is going to happen. And your kids are going to even be happier. They're going to see their father trying to do something and not, just eating bonbons and drinking beer or whatever. Okay?
Right.
All right. That's it. I mean, that's a little bit of tough love right there from me. But then again, you always said you respected my opinions and what I do, and I don't know why, but either way.
Dude, you're to me, you're a bona fide badass, and not just on the drumming part, but you even helped me out. I mean, for you to come over and try to teach me how to ride a motorcycle was absolutely amazing. I'll never forget that shit, dude. You didn't have no reason to do that. None. You went and picked that bike up for me and brought it to the house and taught me and tried to teach me how to ride it.
Yeah.
And I will never forget that as long as I live, brother, because I was already a huge, Peter G fan, and I really respected the shit out of you. And then for you to come over to a teenager's house and do that for me, I can't forget that. That's something that will stick with me forever, brother.
It was part of the Big Brothers Club. So let me tell you something. That we're going to talk about this little motorcycle incident because I never thought I would never forget this incident. Okay,
it was so funny.
Okay,
though.
And then we got to go because I'm going over time. So Tommy, how old were you back then? Do you think?
I think I was about 20 years old.
Okay, do you remember? I don't remember what kind of motorcycle it was. A Kawasaki or something?
It was a Virago 1100.
Is that a Honda?
No, Virago Yamaha.
A Yamaha. Okay. Oh, 1100. Okay.
And you had a Harley.
Yeah, I still have Harleys. I've always been okay. So Tommy got a motorcycle, but he didn't know how to ride, and he was getting a motorcycle. So I said, okay, I will try to teach you how to ride. So we're on this street. And the street, I want everybody to pay attention. So this street, imagine it's like a street that it doesn't dead end, but it doesn't go on forever. It's about a quarter of a mile long, and at the end of the street is another street going like a T. Okay?
Yes.
It goes.
Yes.
So if you kept on going, there's no place to go. You'd have to take. Will you hang on a second? I'm gonna mute you. Just hold on. So he's got about a quarter of a mile to try and ride the motorcycle before he'd have to turn it around or take a left or a right because you can't go anymore. Because if you go across the road that's going left or right, there was a drainage ditch that ran parallel with the road. Calm down, boy. Calm down. Calm down. Okay.
It's so funny.
So here's the problem with motorcycles that most people I've learned in life from learning how to ride myself. You have a clutch and you have gas. Gas is on the right, clutch is on the left. When you're riding and you need to stop and slow down, if you're insecure and you don't have your brain together, like, you know, on which one to do and how to do it, just like driving a stick shift with your foot on the clutch and the gas and the brake and all that, there's lots to do until you get the swing of it. A lot of people panic. And when you're trying to stop, instead of stopping, they end up dumping the clutch, like letting the clutch wide open and giving it gas, just a natural reaction. So here's Tommy. He's taking off and he's going down the road. He's starting to run out of road, and I'm going, pull in the clutch, let off the gas, and brake and turn around. Well,
I remember you yelling lean.
Yeah. So, that's right. And when you take turns, you don't really use the steering wheel like a car. You kind of have to put your weight into it, and you lean, and the bike turns by the gravity force. So he's coming close to that T in the road to where if he doesn't stop, he's going to have to either take a left or a right because there's a drainage ditch on the other side. So instead of I'm yelling, I'm going, pull in the clutch, stop, or it's been 40 years ago. But let's just put it this way. Instead of him stopping, he dumped the clutch, gave it gas, went across the road that was going the opposite, that was going opposite to him. And all of a sudden I didn't see him anymore because he went down in the drainage ditch.
Yes, I did. I remember turning around, getting up. I remember popping up and looking at your smile from about 3 blocks away, and all I could see is teeth.
Yeah.
And you leaning over, laughing your ass off.
Oh, it was funny. Then we had to go and get the bike out of the ditch. I mean, because all I saw was motorcycle and torso, and then it all just disappeared. All right.
Great times.
Yes,
great
good times. Bro. And then we had many great times, and that was the weird thing about it. You guys kind of hovered around, especially towards the end there when we had the studio and things like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, okay, enough. People, there's just we wanted to focus on Tommy. Tommy, listen, I appreciate you pouring your soul out there because it takes a lot of courage. A lot of people don't believe and think that you should hold it all in. I am exactly the opposite. I think the more you kind of talk about things, the easier it is to cope with things because you don't get it all pent up inside. Those are my beliefs. That's just my opinion. I am not a professional.
I'm with you.
Okay.
I am absolutely with you.
I wish you the best. We'll be in touch. I'll keep up tabs on you. Let's see. Maybe we'll see what happens to you a year from now. I hope it's like major leaps and bounds. But Tommy's going to have to keep Tommy in his head to want to be better. You got to want to be better. And it sucks. It's hard. But that's the only way you're going to do it. If you love your kids, you need to love yourself. I think that's probably the biggest thing. You can't love other people unless you're proud of yourself and love yourself. It's not going to work. So I hope you do it.
I appreciate it, brother.
Give your mother a big hug for me. I don't know if she remembers me or not, but just
she does.
Okay. Well, tell her I love her because love is very not. There needs to be more love in this world. That's the problem, and this is why we're in the positions that we're in. But that's life. So we do the best we can. So long as you wake up, you get another chance. All right.
Hey, Peter, but before we leave, I need you to know that I love you too, bro.
All right, I love you too. Like I said, we wouldn't be doing this. I reached out. I'm going, I felt for you. And I feel for people every day on Facebook and stuff. But, this just can't, I don't know. It is everything happens for a reason. Make good of this. Okay?
Yes, sir. Yes,
all right,
sir.
brother. All right, then I'm going to leave you be and we'll talk later. And I'll touch back with you when the show's over real quick just to sum this all up. All right?
All right, brother.
All right,
later.
See you later.
Thank y'all.
Yep.
Bye.
Say goodbye to everybody.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all. Goodbye. Hold on a minute. Everybody's going through stuff. Everybody's going through stuff. I dare say, unfortunately, there's more people that are going through stuff than happy people that are just skipping through life. although there are those too, and God bless them. You know, there's no certain magical form or way of doing these things, but it's the way it is. It's just life. Life is a challenge and possibly a test, you know, but the one thing I know is if you give up, you lose. And sometimes it takes talks like this. I don't know how much of it's going to stick with him or not. I hope it does. I hope what I said was worthy of. I try. Speaking from deep down within myself, experience, still learning every day. I have to take deep breaths, believe me. Everybody just sees me here for this, you know, hour plus once a week. You don't see the stuff in between. It's hard, but I love what I do. I feel like there's a reason for me to be here. So here's the deal. Speaking of reason to be here, thank you, Tomi, for doing what you did. I wish the best for you, but also, as we move on, because life keeps moving, don't forget, next Wednesday, August 14th, right here on this show. Oh, let me do this. I had that banner. There we go. Now let's start again. Don't forget, next week, Wednesday, August 14th. Tomorrow, August 8th, is the 1-year anniversary of the Lahaina Maui fires that devastated that whole community. Lives were lost. Houses were lost. People lost everything, including themselves. And there's been a lot of suspicion amongst the locals, and it doesn't take much to smell a rat, that there was something wasn't right about how those fires started and the decimation that happened in those fires and how they handled those fires and why everything burned and how it burned. Something's not right. So tomorrow, August 8th, makes 1-year anniversary of those fires that they've tried to quietly keep sweeping under the rug. Next Wednesday, August 14th, I have Mr. Paul Deloria that's going to be on the show. He's a local from Lahaina, Maui. He has a organization, a grassroots organization called Maui Community Investigations. It's on YouTube. You can look it up. He's investigating this because he knows, just like I know, something's not right over there. Lots of people were lost, hurt, no way to recover or even be on this planet anymore because they've fell to their demise. And we're going to talk to him straight out of his mouth on the 1-year anniversary of the Lahaina fires and what he's finding out now 1 year later. As you know, I've done 5 shows on the Lahaina fires. It wasn't right. Something was really not right there. And I don't let it go because it just bothered me deep within. So there's a reason for everything. Join me next Wednesday, August 14th, when I have Mr. Paul Deloria, local of Maui, Lahaina, as we discuss the 1-year anniversary of the Lahaina fires and his organization he has called the Maui Community Investigation. Because, again, it doesn't take a genius to figure out something's not right. Join me. It's going to be worth it. Also, I remind you, please, 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 I am fighting the good fight, but I am battling evil with the YouTubes, the TikToks, and the censorship and the throttling back. Please subscribe. It's free. Go to petergshow.com. It'll take you over to the YouTube. Just hit subscribe. It's free. Just help me out. Keep the numbers up. Now let me see. Well, almost I'm getting now. I get a comment. It's like there's rumors that developers were behind that. Well, yeah, you're on to something. Stick with me next week. I'm telling you, there's more than that. It's beyond evil. It's just beyond evil, as far as I'm concerned. But what do I know? It's just that I'm just entertainment, right? Yeah, we're going back to Maui. But hey, listen, subscribe. I appreciate those who watch live. If you don't have time, I know an hour-plus show is a hell of a lot to be dedicated to. That's why I love my people so much, because you are taking the time. But please share. Keep sharing. Please. I need to defy all odds. We don't buy our way into this business like all these people do on Instagrams and all these, what they call influencers. I'm just doing it. Either love me or hate me. Just watch, support, share. And if you don't have time to watch, put an earbud in your ear, Google Peter G Show podcast. You can listen to the audio version. All these shows are on demand. You can listen while you're driving in the car, while you're commuting to work. You can listen while you're at work. We all know work is boring, okay? While you're exercising, whatever. But it's the next best thing to being there. I try to give it to you in every form and fashion that I can within my means. But this is where we're at. So please, and I thank you. All right, that's it. I want to thank everybody for watching Life with Peter G, the Peter G Show, every Wednesday, like clockwork, right here, 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. on the East Coast. I truly, truly do appreciate you. I do. Okay? Reminder, the last reminder, please be kind. Life is a bitch out there. Life is tough, and it's very frustrating at times, you know, and a lot of people just running everybody over and not paying attention and not caring, and we need to keep the care and the love in the world. Please try and keep it in your head. You don't have to take a lot of crap from people, but you don't have to be an ass either. Try to find that happy medium. Remember, everybody's got problems. And somebody's worrying over $10 to feed themselves while somebody's losing $100,000 in the stock market. Okay? But to that person with that $10, it might as well be $100,000 because that's all they've got. So everybody's problems are pretty much very big within their own right. You never know what somebody's going through, such as Tomi, you know, unless they speak out. A lot of people are too quiet and they hold it in, and that's bad. So if somebody wants to let it out, be an ear for them. Talk to them. Let them talk to you. It does them a whole lot of good. Some of these people that commit suicides and things like that, you would have never figured. You go, I had no idea, because you weren't listening. And I get it. You know, I'm not saying everybody's perfect, you know, but just try to be kind. Okay, that's it. I love you guys. I love you guys. I love you guys. I'll see you next week. Great show next week. Don't forget, Maui Lahaina Fire's 1-year anniversary. What's happening over there now? And are they going to get away with this? My name is Peter G. Thank you for watching. I love you. And as always, peace out.
Peter G Show.